Hey everybody, it's Heather Rebecca Wilson, motivational speaker and multicultural women's success coach. Welcome back. Today I'm doing my mixed girl tag video. So we're going to start with question number 1, and that is, what are you mixed with? So I am mixed with, on my mother's side, Filipino, Chinese, Italian, and Spanish. On my dad's side, African American, Irish, and Native American. But I did just take a test that was developed by National Geographic called the National Geographic Project, and it just tested my mom's mitochondrial DNA because I've got 2 X chromosomes, and her DNA is from like 9 different regions all over the world. I'm gonna do a video on that soon, I think, but yeah. What I normally just tell people is that I'm Black and Filipino. Okay, so question 2, what ethnicity have you been mistaken for? People come up to me and speak Spanish a lot, and my Spanish is terrible. I studied Spanish for 2 semesters at college. So yeah, that does happen a lot. Okay, so number 3, is your hair curly or straight? Today it's curly, it's naturally curly, but I do wear it straight often. I go back and forth just because I get bored with my hair. 4th question, was coming from different backgrounds challenging growing up? I would say that up until about 9 years old, I didn't think that I was different from anyone else. And then I had an experience in 4th grade that, brought the fact that I was perceived as different, to my attention, which I would say is like one of the defining moments of my life. So basically, when I was in 4th grade, I found out that the majority of the, friends that I hung out with were going to this dance class pretty much like once a month on a Friday night, and like getting dressed up and socializing and dancing and what have you. And I really wanted to be a part of this dance class. And, I was just like a normal 9-year-old girl who liked dressing up and hanging out with her friends. So I remember asking my parents if, they could get me invited, because I'd heard from my friends you had to be invited. And then, I don't know, like a few weeks later or a few days later, this was so long ago, it's kind of a blur. I remember my parents coming and telling me that, we talked to Mrs. So-and-so, and they said maybe next year you can be invited, or you can participate. So some time passed, and then I heard from my friends who, were 8, 9 years old at the time, that they didn't allow Black people in this class. So at that point, I realized, okay, well, if they don't allow Black people in the class, I'm obviously never going to be invited to participate in this program. So it was really in that moment that I learned that, I wasn't good enough, and that I would never belong, and I needed to be perfect in order to be loved and accepted. So that's definitely where my perfectionist streak was born, but it also made me feel pretty bad about myself, and that kind of haunted me for a lot of my life. And that's part of the reason, it's like the main reason I've become a coach, because that was a huge limiting belief of mine, right? That I wasn't good enough, that I needed to be perfect. So anyway, for several years after that, I really struggled with my racial identity, which is really heavy for somebody who's 9, right? So I didn't have any other, there were no other Filipino kids at my school. So, by the time 9th grade rolled around, I was really excited to, be in the upper school where there were, a lot of other African American kids, and I just felt like, okay, those are my people, that's my family, they're gonna accept me, it's gonna be great. And then I, got to high school, and I remember going to a BSU meeting, and people that I knew just kind of looked at me and said, you're Black? I didn't know you were Black, And so, of course, being 14 and sensitive and self-conscious, I just kind of bolted out of there. I never went to another BSU meeting. So that was a bummer. I think I had built that up so much, and I thought that I was going to find my family, and it turns out that, they didn't accept me either. So that was kind of rough for me. So yeah, having multiple backgrounds was challenging. I mean, I had a great life growing up. I mean, I went to a great school, you know, my parents, you know, provided pretty much everything that I needed and more, but I never felt like I belonged in any one group, right? Like I wasn't Filipino enough for the Filipino side of my family, wasn't black enough for the black side of my family, or my, you know, friends at school, and then I wasn't white enough for my white friends at school. So that was challenging. Okay, 5th question, what backgrounds do I embrace most? I don't know, I think I embrace them all equally. I mean, I just try to be myself. Yeah, I don't prioritize or favor one over the other. I just like kind of do Heather. Okay. Let's see. Have I ever been teased for being different? No. I did have a friend who told me my hair looked like a nappy carpet once, but he has apologized since then because he didn't realize how insulting that was. But no, I don't remember being teased for being different. Okay. 7th question. Have I ever been ashamed of being multiracial? No. Never. I mean, I think at age 14, when I was starting, I don't know, when I was just kind of in the middle of trying to like figure out who I was, I remember a friend saying like, I don't really care, you know, about your background, but like kind of in a mean way. Like, I don't care that you're Italian and Chinese and Native American and black and Filipino or whatever. So I think there was a point where like I just said, oh, I'm black, you know, and Filipino, and I didn't list all the other things because I didn't think that people cared, you know, to hear about it. But I think in the past few years, I've, you know, been a lot more open, and I've shared that part of my life with people. Okay, and then let's see, question 8. Do I feel like being mixed has its benefits? Yeah, I would say that because I kind of move, you know, in different circles and from, I don't know, I exist in different worlds. I feel like, yeah, I'm comfortable in different groups. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it has its benefits, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I'm comfortable in different groups. I don't know. Okay. And then question number 9, what makes being multiracial a beautiful thing? Well, I would say that most multiracial people that I've met are pretty attractive. I would say that is a beautiful thing. I don't know, I feel like I'm a bridge builder. You know, I've had people come up to me and, you know, ask me what my background is. Sometimes they'll ask me, what are you? That hasn't happened in a really long time, but, you know, because that can be kind of rude. But I think I'm a bridge builder because, you know, when somebody asks that question, it kind of opens up a really interesting conversation about, you know, where I'm from, what's important to me, you know, where's the other person from, what's important to them. So, I don't know, I think it's an important conversation to have because, you know, multiracials are the fastest growing population in America right now. And I think by the year 2042, whites are going to be the minority in this country. So America is changing. And I think the, you know, categories, you know, the boxes we put people in, these racial categories are really becoming obsolete, right? Because, you know, our identities change depending on like how we feel that day, you know, the context that we're in. I don't know, I feel like identity is so fluid now. So I think it's an important conversation. So that's what I think is beautiful about it. I mean, and I also have been exposed to, you know, African American culture and Filipino culture, so that has been cool. And I'm curious about other cultures too. So, and I enjoy the food. I enjoy lots of different foods. Wish I was a better cook. Anyway, and then question 7, which is the last question. Do I have any advice for someone who struggles with their multiracial identity? Well, speaking as somebody who has struggled with their multiracial identity, I would just say to them, and really anybody who feels like they're the other or, you know, on the outside or in the minority, I would just say this experience, while it's painful and uncomfortable, is probably the most valuable experience you're going to have in your life, because I think it allows you to feel compassion for other people. It, you know, works your empathy muscle. I think it's important to have that experience, the experience of having the other. And then in terms of just embracing your multiracial identity, yeah, go for it. Love who you are, be nice to yourself, and know that there are other people out there who are just like you, who have the same struggles. I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't know any other multiracial people except my brother and my sister. And maybe 2 years ago was my first time in a multiracial affinity group at the People of Color Conference for the National Association of Independent Schools. I was in a room with like 70 other multiracial people, and it was like going to church. It was heavy. It was a big deal, and it was awesome. It was great. I felt like I had found my tribe. So yeah, I would just say seek out your tribe and know that, you know, you're the future. Okay, that's my mixed girl tag video. Thanks a lot, you guys. I'll be back next week. Okay, bye. Have a good one.